So we're in our first pose, which is a back bend. We take a bolster behind us. You have something different at home, use a pillow. If you have yoga blocks, you can use 2 yoga blocks. We start with our knees bent just so that we can get that extra length through the low back. When you stretch over, you want to place your hands either on the ground or on the bolster. And then you pull yourself up and back. The bolster goes just behind the heart and just under the armpit. Okay. All right. So the head needs to be supported by your block or something else so that the neck is really soft. Neck is really neutral. Let your lower jaw relax. And we're just going to take these moments, especially the first pose of the practice is to allow you to dive in. So when you come into the room and you start to relax back, just remember that if you decide to go into your back bend, even before the class starts, you have to be prepared to stay in it that long. So if you'd rather just sit upright and talk to your neighbor for a little while until actually class officially begins, that might be a better time period for you to be in your back bend. Okay, but of course you can build this up and stay in it for 10, 15 minutes if it feels good for you. Okay, but we're here now. And we're going to stay here for about the next 3 or 4 minutes. And remember that, our yin practices are really based on feeling a pose without strain, so without any high intensity. Okay, it's something really to remember. Now, if you're starting to get more comfortable in your low back and it feels good to stretch the legs down, welcome to do that now. And otherwise, you can keep your knees bent the whole time. Okay. So no amount of strain in your practice is going to give you any kind of help in terms of strengthening the body. You have to take your time to feel a mild amount of discomfort. Okay. So just work with your current capacity on this day. And let the practice always and first and foremost to be guided and informed by your breathing. That takes precedence. That's above anything else is your breath. And how is your breath moving within this quiet form of your body? Just keep your awareness on this even flow of your breath. And can you keep that flow throughout the duration of the practice? That same slow pace. Nothing forced, nothing controlled. And it teaches us how to balance the internal movement that's always occurring on the inside with the stillness of the form, balancing movement with stillness. 2 are happening at the same time. And that in turn helps us to discover more and explore more the inner body, the unseen body. Learning how to balance the seen with the unseen. So everything underneath our skin is kind of a mystery to us, yet it's equally, if not more important than what's on the outside. So everything that is happening on the inside and everything that you feed your inside is going to show on the outside. So the inner animates the outer. And let's explore that. Let's explore watching from the inside. Let's take another 4 breaths. And so the first small movement that we make will be with our head. So just very gently rock the head slightly to the right, letting the chin feel really heavy. And then over to the left. It could be very slight movement. And then going back to the right. And then over to the left. And then maybe start to drop it even more. Maybe feel the chin hanging all the way to the right shoulder as if it wants to touch the right shoulder without forcing. And then rolling further over the back of the skull, dropping lower jaw towards the left shoulder. Just feeling that gentle stretch across the side of the neck. You can do that maybe 1 or 2 times, keeping the head really heavy on the block or on whatever support you have under your head. And so by rotating the neck like this, we want to keep the neck long and neutral to keep the rotation safe. And then we'll finally work our way back to center. And just feel the weight of the head resting on the block. Okay, so we've been here for a while. So take your time shifting out of this. We're going to walk our feet in slowly. Feel the weight of the feet heavy on the mat. We turn the tailbone forward. We're going to roll the body, the whole body over to the right side. Just bring everything with you. Take the left hand down either to the floor or to the bolster, and you start to press yourself up as you start to move forward, keeping your head pretty low just to keep your nervous system relaxed. And you're going to stretch your legs in front of you. Okay, stretch your legs in front of you. And we're going to keep those legs for now. We're going to keep them about hip distance apart. Now, we're going to be mixing a little bit of yang with some yin this morning. So you're going to feel some muscular contraction and action mixed with the yin. And sometimes that helps us to understand what yin is a little bit more when we know the contrast. So we're going to start by flexing the feet a little bit. You're going to take your belt, okay? And you're going to loop that around the feet, really at the base of the toes, the ball of the big and the baby toe, okay? Yeah, do your best to keep your feet apart because the belt is going to want to squeeze them together, but see if you can kind of gently press your outer feet into the belt. Now, we're going to reestablish that back bend. So sit up real tall. Imagine that bolster still behind you, gently drawing your low back forward. Okay, so now you're actively contracting your low back into the back bend. So Jill, if you want, sit up a little higher on a blanket. So if you feel that you're falling backwards, if you feel the top of your hips are kind of hanging back and it's hard to get that low back in, sit up on your blanket, okay? It just helps to elevate the hips. Now, you're going to walk your hands up the belt as far as you can without rounding your back, without rounding your back. Okay, so keep your arms really long. Okay, how far can you go? Does it start to tilt your upper body forward through the hips? So that's where the movement is at the hip joints, not at the spinal joints. Okay, and then get a good grip. And then without rounding the back, see if you can bend your elbows out slightly to lean a little more forward. It could just be a millimeter, it could be 2 centimeters. Okay, we're just looking down between the feet. So you keep that neck neutral. And notice if you're starting to feel more in the legs. Okay, we're seeing if we can target the legs. And if you're able to bend your elbows slightly outwards, then go ahead and walk your hands again further up until your arms are straight again. Okay? Okay. Then see if you can bend your elbows out again to the sides. Do you feel more in the backs of your legs? Are you willing to feel more in the backs of your legs? Where do you need to stop? Where does it get too intense? Some of you might be very open and can just grab the outer feet with your hands. You can do that if you'd like. Outside, Marian, outside of the feet, not the toes, outside of the feet, outside of the feet. Yeah, okay. So it's either the belt or it's grabbing the feet. Take another 2 breaths. Sit up a little taller, lean if you can. Sit up taller. Yeah, it's a long spine. Gently pull your last time. See if you can bend your elbows out to the sides. Chin into the throat, Hrit. Chin into the throat. Pull the head back a little more, Hrit. Yes, right there, right there. Ears over shoulders. Okay, now we're going to release the belt. We're going to release the feet. We're going to hang the backs of the hands into the ground or resting hands on legs, whatever you choose. Now you're going to start to slowly, slowly, slowly drop your head as you fall in. Yeah, you don't even have to look at your neighbor. Everyone is doing it differently. We all fold differently. We all bring our history with us. And that is very, very different from the person next to you. Just hang. If you feel pain anywhere, especially in your vertebrae, if you feel any pain, sit a little higher. Take that pain away. Stay with the discomfort. And you just keep bowing your head. You're closing your eyes. You're falling into darkness. You have that even pace of your breath. And you're not looking for anything more than where you are right now. That's it. This is it. In Yin, we call this the caterpillar. In Sanskrit, it's called Paschimottanasana. And it's a seated forward bend where we're folding in on ourselves. We're cocooning. The caterpillar cocoons. And any forward bend in yoga gives us the chance to look in, right? To look in, to see what's happening on the inside. We withdraw our senses from the outer world and we bring it to the inner world. In yoga, we call this Pratyahara, withdrawing the senses inward. Take a few more breaths. Just keep dropping, relaxing the elbows, heavy shoulders, heavy head. Okay. So let's back out of this very, very sensitively. Okay, we lift the head just a little. And then we walk our hands onto the legs. And then we use the hands and the strength of the arms to push the upper body straighter. Okay, so careful not to pull the back up, right? It's a big difference. And then we walk the hands up the legs and we press again to ease the spine up until you back up over your sit bones, until you feel the middle of your sit bones, and then relax there for just a moment. Just close your eyes. Feel the change. Feel the opening through the front of the body. And the breath. And then we open our eyes. All right, now we're going to take everything off of our mat, but just keep it near you, including your belt. You keep it near you, okay? And I'd like you to go lie down on your back with your knees bent and your feet heavy on the mat. And then just feel the spine connecting. Okay. And I would say walk your feet in a little more so Khanda, your feet are on the ground. Yep. And you just want to walk the feet in enough to really allow the pelvis, the back of the pelvis to drop, and the low back starts to sink in. Your hands just rest on your ribs. Okay. Chin tucks down nicely into the throat. Sometimes it helps to take your fingertips to the back of the head and then just draw the back of the head away from the neck. That's going to tuck the chin in and then bring your hands back down again. Okay, take another 2 breaths. Yep, just settling. And then you're going to take your blanket, and it's good to keep it folded up in a square. Okay. And you're going to take that, lift the hips, place it right underneath your pelvis, right where the sacrum is. Okay, where it feels very comfortable, supported. You're going to take your right ankle over left knee. That's all. That's the only thing you do right now. Right ankle over left knee, allowing that right knee to hang in space. So start to soften through the right leg, the right hip. Roll your head slowly over to the right and look at that knee. Without lifting the head, look at the knee. And how is that knee hanging in space? It all depends on the tightness of your hip. Is it able to really fall away from your ribs, or does it tend to hang in towards your ribs? Okay, without changing it, just notice it. And then roll your head back to center. Now, be very conscious of how the abdominals and the back of your left leg start to contract even before you make the movement. And we're going to be lifting the legs into the chest in this form. So again, notice how the intelligence of your muscles will start to go into action before the movement when you start to lift left foot off the mat and bringing the legs closer to the chest. Now we're going to take that right arm and we're going to loop it in between the legs. Now I like to lift my head here so I can interlock my fingers behind the left thigh bone. Some of you are flexible enough to lock the fingers together in front of the shin bone. And then you lie back. Okay, so if it's really tight, you hold the back of the upper leg. If it's still too tight and you're not able to lace the fingers together, that's when you take your belt again. I like to fold it in half and you loop that through around the back of your leg and you hold on to that. And that just helps to extend the arms. Okay. All right, so we call this the eye of the needle, or we also call it the pretzel. We're pretzeling our legs. Yeah. Okay. And we're just gonna take some moments here to acclimate to the feelings, whether it's in, your low back, maybe it's in your right hip. Keep your shoulders dropping, the shoulder blades flattening onto the ground. And if the feelings in your right hip start to dissipate a little bit, they start to soften, you can start to activate your arms to pull the legs a little closer in towards your chest, and that will bring you to the next level of sensation. You'll notice that your right leg tends to fall in. Maybe use that right elbow and gently press that right leg away. Let's take a few more breaths. Another pose to fall into yourself. Jose, you want to put something under your head so that your chin isn't lifting too high. Yeah, keep your chin close to your throat. There you go. There you go. Notice the rhythm of your breathing. There we go. I'm going to put this under your head. Just a couple more breaths. Let's take our time here. Okay, so now I'd like you to release your hands and slowly take left foot to the ground. Keep your legs crossed. Rest your hands on your ribs. Just take a moment to come out of it. And then you're going to once again lift the left foot off of the mat, bringing the legs into the chest again. Maybe there's a little more movement this time. But I'd like you to take your belt, okay? Some of you will keep it folded in half. Some of you will need the entire length of that belt. You're going to start to bring your left foot up to the sky until you see it, okay? You're going to lift your head. You're going to have to contract your abdomen, and you're going to loop that belt around your foot again in the same place that it was when you were in the seated pose, the caterpillar. Yeah, some of us really have to get up there and lasso the foot if we've got really beautiful long legs. Okay. And so again, put the belt right at the ball of the big toe, ball of the baby toe, and then start to walk your hands up the belt until your arms are totally straight, very similar to what we did before. So the straighter the arms, the more the shoulders can drop back away from the hands. And that's what's going to help you to open up the back of the leg and to feel the right hip. Okay, so there's a couple things going on here. Now, our hips are on the blanket for two reasons: to keep the pelvis and the bones of the pelvis more at ease and softer, but also because when we hold on to the belt with a straight leg, the back of your hips are going to start to float upwards off the ground, which is natural, right? So see if you can continue to drop your hips towards the blanket. And then if that starts to open up a little more, maybe you can walk your hands further up the belt and then hang the shoulders again until you feel the next level of sensation. So what's happening with the right foot? Did your right lower leg start to slide in too much over to the left? Or can you keep your ankle and just below the ankle right on the leg? Maybe press your right knee more forward as you pull on your belt. You're essentially making the upside down number 4 with your legs. Some of you might be able to go all the way up and grab the foot. And I know this is a lot of work for the hands. You're going to start to feel the hands getting tired. This is another reason why it's nice to be able to double up the belt, because then there's more in your hand to grab. Let's take about 6 more breaths. And then just play with it. Maybe you can pull on the belt a little more. You can start to bring the leg even closer towards you as you continue to drop your hips down. Keep settling the spine. Settle the spine. Take one more breath. Take one hand off the belt and slide the belt off. Take it off to the side. You're going to bend your left knee again and take the foot down. Okay, you're still crossed. Arms go out to the sides. You can start with the palms of the hands down. Now, as you breathe out, begin to hang your legs right to the right, to the right, as you roll on to the inner edge of your left foot. Perhaps some of you can get the right knee to the ground. Don't worry if you cannot. And use the right foot to add weight to the left leg. That's why it's there, right? Is to encourage the left knee to drop closer to the ground, okay? All right, so there's no force. We're just using body weight now. So we're now entering really a classic yin pose where we're going to drop all contractions. You're going to open the palms of your hands to the sky. And you're going to roll your head to the left, away from the knees. And then just keep dropping, dropping, dropping down. And I know there may be some hesitation because it may feel like that right foot wants to slip off the knee. You can readjust your legs in a way that keeps the foot there. And if it wants to drop off, let it drop off. What's important here in this open twist is that you do not feel any sharp pain in your left knee. Okay, no sharp pains in your left knee. If you have a pain in your left knee, you will put your hand up and I will come to you. Those of you at home, if you feel your left knee, you will need to slide a pillow or a block or some support under the left shin bone so that it doesn't dive down too deep. We want to keep the knee healthy, right? And the ligaments that are around the knee capsule, and inside the knee joint. There are 4 major ligaments there. Hold on, I'll do it for you. Yeah. We want to keep those 4 ligaments very healthy. Is that too high for you? Is that okay? Hold on, Yolanta. Seeing your pulse? Is that where you, what are you feeling there? You want to, is that good? The the knee joint tends to be a lot more sensitive and more prone to injury than for men. And that has a lot to do with just the size of our hips and relative to our alignment with our knees. So our hips go, more broader. So if you look at, a woman's body from the hips down to the knees, there's a slight inward angle. Men don't have that, right? They just basically just go straight down to the outer knees from their hips. And because our hips are broader and relative to our knees, this can cause more strain on those ligaments in the knee joint for any movements that we do, any sports that we do. So we have to really take care of that. I'm going to take about 4 more breaths in this open twist. Try to come right onto the inner edge of the foot if you can. Just like that. Yeah. What are you feeling? Heat? Yep. Okay. Okay. So now you've been here for a while. Okay, so just listen carefully. We're going to do this in small increments. Okay. The first thing that you do is you roll your head back to center. The next small movement is turning the palms of the hands down. And then the next small movement is drawing the belly in. So there's a gentle contraction there. There's yang there. And then from that contraction, we exhale and we roll back onto left foot slowly, slowly, because there might be some tenderness in the low back, in the hips. Just notice what's happening there as you return. And then we uncross. We take our arms down right alongside the body. And then we slide the legs down. Okay. So just a momentary pause in Shavasana. Hips are still gently elevated over or above the blanket. Take another full breath. And then slowly walk your feet back in, heavy feet on the mat. And then just use your hands to readjust your low back, readjust your blanket until you feel supported. We're going to cross left ankle over right knee. That's all you do. All right. New form, new moment. And then just feel how your left knee hangs there in space. Roll your head slightly over to the left. Open your eyes, take a look at that knee. And how is that knee hanging in space? How does it hang there compared to the right one? Is it any different? It is different, but is it subtle for you or is it quite a drastic difference? And slowly roll your head back to center. Keep your face really soft. And again, I want you to notice the intelligence of your muscle structures and your tendinous and ligamental structures in your body, how they respond to the information from your brain that they start to contract even before you make the movement. It's just a very, very fraction of a millisecond. But we're going to begin to take that foot off the ground as you bring your legs towards your chest. How does this differ? How does this differ compared to the first side? Right? And then we're going to take this left arm and we're going to loop it between your legs right through the window. We're going to lift our head. I always like to lift the head just to get a better grip with my fingers either around the back of the thigh or in front of the shin bone. That might be a little too ambitious on this side. My left hip is quite a bit tighter than my right. So I'm going to probably stay behind my thigh bone. Some of you will even take a belt again and loop it behind the thigh. Okay. And then you're going to lie back. Do your best to keep your chin down into the throat. Try to avoid that chin flying up towards the ceiling because that shortens the neck. So if you need to put a little extra padding under your head, do that. Okay. Maybe take an extra blanket or towel. Okay. So there we are back in eye of the needle. Yeah, and you'll notice the left knee starts to drop in towards the arm. Maybe you'll use that left elbow to gently press it away. Right. And so we're in it, and your efforts are to relax into it as much as you can without losing the actual form of the pose. How much can you relax? Don't forget that yin is about stepping back. It's about retreating back away from overfeeding ourselves, right? And I don't just mean by food, I mean by overfeeding ourselves with too much of anything, too much of any good thing, too much of any bad thing. Just stepping back from too much. We learn to slow down, and it's really something that humans have to relearn to do because we've forgotten the the gift of slowing down. We've forgotten how to do that. We learn to stop overfeeding ourselves with too much of noise or too much of people, too much information, too much stimulation. Let's take another breath. Mm-hmm. Then I'd like you to very, very slowly release the hands or your belt and begin to take that right foot back to the mat. Just rest your hands on the front of your body and take a pause. And now look for your belt. Keep it near you. As you begin to lift right foot back off the mat, bringing the knees closer into your chest. Now lift your head, and start to lift your right foot high enough so that you see it. Okay. And then you're going to take that belt, you loop it around. Good luck. Good luck getting that belt over the foot. Try to do it as best you can without uncrossing. I know that's challenging, but just use your abdominals. Get up as high as you can. I'm coming to you. Okay. And then shift that belt onto the ball of your big toe, the ball of your baby toe, and then start to walk your hands up the belt as high as you can so that the arms are straight. Okay. So that the arms are straight. Christian, do you feel your shoulder there? Christian? You feel this? You feel this? Hold both hands. Is that okay? Yeah, both. Keep your hips heavy. Yeah, as heavy as you can. There. But can you start to pull that leg closer to your face without lifting the hips too much? Could you press your left knee forward towards the center of the room? And you'll feel that foot helping to keep that leg straight. Let's take another 4 or 5 breaths. So it's working two things. It's working the back of your right leg and the outer left hip. All right. Then release one hand and the other hand will slide the belt off. Bend your right knee, place the foot on the mat. Left ankle is still crossed. Pause. Take your arms out to the sides. And here we go. We're going to hang the legs left, left, all the way to the left, slowly, slowly rolling onto the inner right foot. And the left foot helps to provide weight for the right knee. Okay, and once again, if you feel anything tweaky in your right knee, you let me know so I can come to you to support that right leg. And those of you at home, take some padding under the right shin bone so that the right knee doesn't fall too deep. You feel it too much in the shoulder, it hurts. Okay, so just okay. Sometimes it helps to put a little bit of that. Okay. Yes. So some of you have noticed that there's a big opening through the chest and especially the inner right shoulder. So this is one of the things that we are looking for, is to feel that opening, especially through the right side of the body. There's a long opening through the right side of the body. If you feel it too much, especially if you've been dealing with a tight shoulder, you can still take some cushioning under both your legs so that the legs don't drop so deep. Are you okay with it? Okay, so visualizing is open up lower there. Yes. Suzanne, how are you? Yeah. So let's take it up a little bit higher. That's right. Open the palms of the hands. Maybe you hang your head to the right. Hang your head to the right. Let's take another 4 or 5 breaths. Fall into yourself. And it's using another form to find that relaxation state. What's the new breath and what's the new relaxation state? Can you find it? More breath. Okay, so again, we come out of this very slowly. The first thing we do is we roll the head to center, and that's all. And we turn the palms of the hands down. That's all. We draw the belly in. And then when we breathe out, we roll back onto right foot. Pause again. And then uncross. Oh, the joy of going slow in a world that goes so fast. Slide your legs down. Take your arms down. And take a moment. Walk your feet onto the mat, both feet heavy to the mat, toes are heavy. And this time we're going to roll to the left side, nice and slow. The whole body rolls to the left. Your right hand comes down onto the floor or onto the mat, and then you lean into it. Now, we've been down here for a long time, so take your time as you push up. Keep your head low, okay, so that your nervous system stays calm. Okay, we don't want to pop up. And then just start to circle yourself to the top of your mat, still sitting on your blanket right in the middle of it. Stretch your legs down where we were before, hands to the legs, and then just press down with the hands. Start to lift the rest of the spine upwards until your chin is parallel to the floor. Take an exhale into the back body. Yeah, settle into the back body. And then we open our eyes. We're going to take our legs wide apart. So as wide as you can. Now, often when we take the legs wide, the low back wants to pop out even more behind you. So if you need to sit up even higher, take an extra blanket or fold your blanket again. You're going to take your bolster around to the front. You're going to also keep a block near you in case you need that. Okay. Actually, let's do it now, just so that you know how we can make this easier. The block can go under the front end of it, because this helps to lift the bolster up closer to you. If you're more open, take it away in a moment. Now, feel a slight pull in the inner legs. We're going to start by flexing the feet, pushing the heels out so the toes are lifted towards the sky, but then you relax the feet. Okay, lift up, bring the low back in, and start to walk your hands up the bolster to the front end. Catch it. Lift your chest again. And then start to lean in, lean in, lean in until you feel the next level of sensation in your inner legs. See if you can keep your toes facing up towards the sky. And then keeping that spine really long. Could you go down even a little lower? You can start by placing one fist on top of the other, and then you rest your head down. Some of you can take your hands flat and rest your forehead down. Some of you can take your hands to the floor and rest on one side of your head. Some of you will not do any of that, and you will take the block away and just upend the bolster and place it under your forehead. So ideally, we want to be able to get our head down to something so that the neck can relax. Okay, so take your variation. Nadine, see if you can place the block under the bolster or under your head. Yeah, so that your head can come down to the hands now. So relax the arms, Nadine, like this. Nadine, take a look. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, so there we are. We call this the dragonfly in Yin. Working on the inner legs, the inner hips, and the low back. Anyone who has ever dealt with sciatica, where there's pinching of the sciatic nerve, you will know this if you've had it, so you will be familiar with the term. This actually helps to relieve a little bit of sciatica because we're bringing the legs out to the sides, which helps to release tension in your gluteal muscles, in your buttocks, okay, where that sciatic nerve runs down through, giving it some space. Okay, so again, it's a forward bend, right? So drop into yourself, Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, drawing inward. Look inside at the unseen body. Look at different parts of your body. Look at the parts that don't really want to let go. Take a look at your kidneys. This helps to stimulate kidneys as well as the bladder. Kidneys help to balance proper water balance in the body. Helps to regulate the acid base concentration in your body. Take 3 or 4 more breaths. And then we slowly lift the head. We press the hands down into the bolster and we walk up, we walk up, we walk up, sitting tall, slide the bolster over to the inner left leg, just down the length of it. Just hold this for 1 minute on each side before we finish the practice. You're going to hold the bolster, hold your right knee, pick yourself up. You're going to start to turn, so slight twist, turn your upper body towards the right foot, looking at your right foot. Start to reach your left arm towards that right foot. Lean back towards the left leg, Kirit. Lean back towards the left leg. Could you take your elbow to the bolster? Could you take maybe more of your shoulder towards the bolster? Could you drop your head down towards the left ear? Keep your chest open. You can take your right arm up to the sky, slowly over the head. So just do it in increments because you might be feeling already too much. Then do less. Maybe that right hand can come to or towards the toes, over the head, relax. If it's too much, you take your right hand down and just come up halfway. See if you can get your head back in line with the left shoulder so that we really feel the side body starting to open. Okay. And you're only going to take that for about 30 more seconds, right? That's it. Nice, Catherine. Good. Keep your chest open. That's it. You can also rest your left arm on an extra block. You can even stack. You can always stack your props and use whatever you want. Fabienne, the palm of the hand is facing down, the one that's above. Okay, so now let's come out of this very slowly. We take that right arm up. We lift the head slightly. We press the arm into the bolster and we come back up. Okay, just settle at the center because it might be sensitive. Settle it. Take your bolster over to the right inner leg. We hold the bolster, hold the left knee. You pick yourself up. You start to turn towards left foot. Look at your left foot. Look at your left foot. Take your right arm. You're going to reach it over towards that foot as you lean back. So don't be surprised if it's quite a bit different on this side. Okay, so just as an option, I'll show you, you can even put a block in there, right, to rest your shoulder on if you can't get your elbow or your shoulder on the block. Okay, keep that right arm pretty long. And then start to lean back, get into the back side of you, because that will help to open the side better if you lean back. And then you start to drop your ear to shoulder. Ooh, what's going on there? And then you can take your left arm up, maybe, right? And then you take it over the head, fingers move towards the right toes. Maybe you hear some cracking and popping along the way. Now, if you feel too much in your shoulder or too much in the upper arm, you just take that arm back down again. That's it, Jill. Okay, so a very challenging pose to drop, right? But just take about 30 more seconds to practice dropping and releasing as much as you can without losing the form too much. Sidling. Nice. Take your left arm up. Start to lift the head. Press your right elbow into the support to slowly pick yourself up and turn forward. All right, take a moment, sit back into the sit bones. Ah, okay. Now take your bolster in front of you, horizontal. We bring the legs in, we sit forward off of our blanket. We take the blanket away. Okay. The legs rest heavily over the bolster. Okay, so they want that support. Notice how my heels are heavy on the mat, and I want to keep those heels really heavy. My toes will flop out to the sides, scoop my hips a little bit closer towards the bolster, and then we go down. Just hold the outer hips to slowly release the spine down, all the way down. That's it. So we take the arms alongside the body, the palms of the hands are open towards the sky. And similar to what we did in our very first pose this morning, we held the back of the head with the fingertips. We pulled the back of the skull behind us away from the neck, and then we replaced the head back down again. And then take your arms down. Okay. So Shavasana is the only pose in our yin repertoire that we don't seek to feel anything. We become completely into the non-doing state and attempt to come into the non-feeling state, which is why it is the most challenging pose that there is. Body becomes completely still so that you can look better inside, listen inside. Listening, the term for listening in Sanskrit is shravana. Shravana, we listen. And notice when you listen, when you really try to hear the murmurs inside, even your breath becomes suspended. Just allow your head to roll to the right, roll to the left. And then the head comes back to center. Okay. Take a long stretch back with your arms. Stretch your legs forward and down into your bolster, which will lift your hips slightly up off of the ground. And then you rest, and then you draw your knees into your chest. You hold your knees with your hands. You roll. Let's roll to the left side again, all the way left. And then we come up. Okay, so just slowly circle into the front of your mat as we sit up. Okay, nice tall spine, left hand to the chest, right hand on top. We inhale, and then we bow our head down. We lift our head again, palm to palm, up to the third eye. Namaste. Okay, enjoy this day.